Hey, this is Russ. Time to hear from another knee patient. Yep, something other than me. I asked you guys to give me some information about you, and several people have done that. So, as of this recording, this is our final patient. So I need more of you guys to write in and tell me, about yourselves. I don't need to know everything. I just need to know about your knee. Okay, here's what you need to do if you're going to write in. I need to know if you're male or female, what your age is, and where you're from. Okay, if you're in the United States, just tell me what state you're in. That's all I need to know. If you're out of the country, tell me what country you're in. Okay, and then tell me a little bit about the history of how your knee has been going, and then update us every now and then so we know how your journey has been gone. So anyways, today we are up to patient 5M, and he's from Oregon. I'm again looking off screen because I have notes behind the camera here, right, on the computer monitor. So he says that he is a 68-year-old male. He's a former electrician, and he believes that's probably where his knees got all messed up from crawling around and things like that. So he said he started watching Russ is Right about 2.5 months into his recovery. So he must have been dealing with it on his own and then ran into me, okay? He agrees that the pain is very real from the beginning and that he needed the oxycodone pills, but later on he couldn't take it anymore. He couldn't stand it. For some reason, he said the exercises for extension was worse for him than the flexion was. But, it hurt. The flexion hurt, but it was doable. But the extension was worse. He got a little tip from his physical therapist who helped measure him from flexion. He would take the therapist would take a Sharpie and mark a couple points on his lower leg and 2 points on his upper leg, and that gave his wife a consistent measuring point. Okay, so every time he would take a shower and that mark would fade, they would just remark up his knee. All right. But that's actually kind of a good idea, as long as you don't mind a little mark on your leg, because it is the same point all the time then, right? You're not kind of guessing. I'm always kind of guessing, is that there? Is it here? So good point. He says to help for his extension, he laid on his stomach on the bed with his leg hanging off the end of the bed. Okay, I've heard this before from other people, above the knee. And then his wife would put a 10-pound weight around the ankle, and it would dangle there for several minutes. Okay, so that's one way of kind of forcing it. I've done some things before like that too. I didn't do it off the bed. I would put my leg up on a chair, but I would dangle. I did 10 pounds too, 10 pounds off of it. But now that I have my Jazz knee unit, I let it do it from there. Okay, kind of a similar thing, but that thing pushes me down, whereas the weight would pull it down. Kind of same thing, okay? Let's see what else he said. And he says, doing all these exercises, things have helped him because he can now flex up to 127 degrees, and his extension is at 0. So he is actually able to walk pretty good. He's not having any problems with walking, okay? He does his flexion a little bit different than me. He says he lays on his back on the floor with his butt about 16 inches away from the wall and with his legs up on the wall, and then he drags his foot down the wall until the pain stops him from going any further. He holds that for at least a minute, and he does that at least 6 times a day. He plans to continue doing that as long as he's able to do it, okay? I'll tell you this, okay? If I did that, my wife would yell at me for my dirty feet on her walls. But it works for him, okay? So that's good. He says he doesn't limp, he walks normal, and his knee was sewn up from the inside out, as I had mentioned that someone else had. Okay, so it sounds like he had the sutures done inside and then probably glued, I'm guessing. Okay, that's how the other lady had it done. He says that he wouldn't do this again. He wouldn't do it again, he said, for his other knee. So even though it sounds like he's doing fairly well, he says he wouldn't do it again. He says the first few months were miserable for sure, but you just got to stick it out, okay? He can walk up the stairs with no problems, but he's still a little apprehensive walking down the stairs, and it depends on what he's carrying and how the stairwell is like, all right? But he does say, he admits that going downstairs one step at a time is sometimes something he has to do. Okay. So what else does he have here? Let me see. I think I have more information here from him. Yep. He says his knee still feels numb and it's thick in certain places. So he's starting to practice crawling again on his hands and knees. I've never crawled on my knees after this thing. I think it always feels a little weird trying to do that. And I'm not sure whether you should or shouldn't do it. I've heard from other people saying that they do kneel on their knees, and others have said, no way, don't ever do that. So I don't know. But he says he does it with a cushion at first, but it still feels weird. He says he would rate his surgery a success, but if you had asked him that 1 or 2 months into this whole thing, he would have said, no way. And I think that's typical. A lot of us don't think we did too well to start because, you're in the pain that you've never felt before. You can't bend, you can't stretch, you can't do anything. So you would tend to feel that it was not a success. But after all this time now, he feels it has been a success. So he's been there, going through there almost a year now. So good for him. Sounds like he's doing okay, and he just got to keep working it. And I think that's pretty much what we all need to do. Our exercises need to continue even though you hit that range. Because I know that for me, even though I was doing certain things, but not to the extent I was in physical therapy, my flexion had reverted backwards. Like I said, I was doing about 117 or so unassisted, 130 under pushing and screaming. But checking myself again, I was at 104. Yeah, several months later, I was 104 down. And then since putting the jazz units back up, I'm at 120 plus. Okay, so easily 120. I didn't have any pain or any suffering doing the 120 measurement the last time I showed you guys. If I pushed harder, could it go further than 120? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it could have. I wasn't really pushing as hard as I could. And I know if physical therapy, those guys push you really hard. So if you want an actual full maximum measurement, it probably is past 120, but easily 120 for me. So his 127 is very good. So congratulations on that, patient number 5M. Okay. Keep us informed if anything changes. But yeah, he's doing pretty good. Anyways, if you like the video, go ahead and hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all those things, and I will talk to you guys next time.